the execution of this program. This tells me, what do I know about x before the first line of program? In this case, I know nothing about it. In this case, I also know nothing about y. Okay, it is about assumptions. Okay, this pre-line or this row, with the label of pre, is telling me what kind of assumption can I make prior to the execution of the first line of this program. In this case, I'm saying I know nothing. I'm not assuming anything whatsoever in variable x and variable y. Now, it doesn't seem to be very important, right? Okay, whether it's 0 or not, it doesn't seem to be very important. But when you get into C programming, it is extremely important that you understand that variables start with, each variable starts with a value. You just don't know what it is. And that's why a question mark represents the value. It has a value, but you don't know what it is. Okay. So now we move on to line 1. Now, when we update, these cells on this particular row, we are trying to say, after line 1 executes, what do we know about x and what do we know about y? Okay. So each row is saying, after that line executes, after we complete the operation of that line, what do we know at that point? That's what each row is trying to represent. But can someone tell me, this is line 1, and this is our trace. What will be the value of x after line 1 executes? It has a value of 0. Okay, because this is an assignment. It has the right-hand side and the left-hand side. The right-hand side in this case is a constant, which is 0. We use it to update the variable specified on the left-hand side. It is x that it is specifying, and therefore x is now updated to a value of 0. What about y? It's still a question mark, right? Because we are not doing anything about y on line 1. Okay, that's fine. We are moving on to line 2. After line 2 executes, what do you think will be the value in x?
0.
Why?
Because nothing else is happening.
Because x is not even on the left-hand side of the assignment. We're not changing x at all on line 2. So x will continue to have a value of 0. What about y? Y is going to end up with a value of 2 because the right-hand side specifies x plus 2, so it's referring to the value of 0 from the previous row, which is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2, and then we use 2 to update variable y. Variable y is represented by column C in the spreadsheet, and therefore it is now updated to a value of 2. And now we move on to line 3. After line 3 executes, what would be the value of x? Negative 10, because when we look at the right-hand side, x minus 10, but this x refers to the current value of x, which is actually 0 from the previous row. 0 minus 10 is negative 10, and then we use negative 10 to update the variable on the left-hand side, which just happens to be x itself, so that's why x is now updated to a value of negative 10. What about y? It's still 2 because we are not doing anything with y on line 3. If this is the entire algorithm, then I'll end the execution by saying post, which is basically just a marker to indicate that we are done with this entire program. This is the end of the entire execution. It's the same thing as QED in the mathematics proof. Basically, it's just a marker to end to say, okay, this is it. We are done executing this program. It's also the post condition because we can now see that the post condition of the algorithm is x would equal to negative 10 and y would equal to 2. Are we doing okay so far with these concepts? Doing okay? All right. So I think you guys are ready for the first homework assignment. All right. So the first homework assignment, I can do it as we speak like this. Okay, there are several steps involved in the first homework assignment. Let me go back to Moodle. And editing. See, I can create homework assignments on the fly, just like this. And I'm going to add a new homework assignment. So we'll just call this assignment and LibreOffice. All right. Now this is a very simple homework assignment, but there are certain things that you really need to understand about this homework assignment. Okay, so I'll separate it into different steps here, and I'll use headings to indicate all these different steps. Okay, step 1, install LibreOffice. Okay. Now LibreOffice is open source, which means it is a free software. You can install it in 2 different ways. Okay, so I'll just write down here. When I'm typing, the height is important. So 2 methods to install LibreOffice. The first method is to go to LibreOffice.org and install it on your computer. Okay, so go to let me just open up a tab here. Go to LibreOffice.org. So when you get to LibreOffice.org, you just go to click download, or click this download here. It automatically knows which operating system you are using from the browser, and you can just click the main installer in this case, download the whole file, go through the installation process. Then you can use LibreOffice, but only on that computer that you have LibreOffice installed. Yep.
It'll run on Mac.
There's one version for Mac too. Pretty sure it's available for Mac, as well as Windows and Linux. So all all major platforms are supported. Okay, so that's one possible way to install LibreOffice. If you're using Windows and you're thinking, well, but I might want to do my homework assignment at home, at work, at school, and I'm not quite sure, whether LibreOffice is installed on all of those computers, and I may not even have the administrative rights to install LibreOffice on, let's say, my office computer or the computer in the library, and so on and so forth. The second option is even better. You can install it as a portable app. Okay, so this is one option. The second option is go to portableapps.com and install it to a thumb drive. External hard drive, thumb drive, whatever you want to call that is fine. All right, so let me go open another tab to portableapps.com. And it has, when you go to download, you can see that it has software for just about anything, everything. All the major open source programs are supported here. I should probably click Get Apps. Sorry, click the wrong one. So click Get Apps, and you can see a directory of the applications that you can get from Portable App. The one that we are interested right now will be listed under Office because it's LibreOffice. It's an entire Office suite. You can see from here, where is it? Right here, LibreOffice Portable. So you click that, and well, you know what? I'm just going to make your job easier by making it a link. There we go. All right, so getting back to here. Now, what is the difference? LibreOffice is LibreOffice. In both cases, it is free of charge. Okay, the only thing you need will be either hard drive space or space on your thumb drive. This one requires, it will download up to about 120 megabytes. After it is installed, it will take up a little bit less than 400 megabytes on your thumb drive. And thumb drives these days are fairly inexpensive. Most people have, either have that much space left, or you can get a new thumb drive for $6, $7. How much can you buy with $6 or $7 these days? 8 gig or so.
About $20 will get you a 16 gig.
I think a 16 gig is less now, less than $20. Depends on quality. Exactly.
The Kingston thumb drive.
The one that I'm using right now, which is a SanDisk, I think I paid $6 for 8 gig, 8 gig thumb drive. It's the smallest capacity I could find.
Yeah, I got a 30, 15, 60 bucks.
Yeah, it's a good brand.
Oh,
SanDisk or something like that.
It's been a while since I
Kingston,
looked at it.
SanDisk, so they're not expensive. Okay, it's not expensive, considering there is no textbook, for this class. I think all that money, you can buy like a thumb drive with change, right? So you can install this one on a thumb drive. Now the big difference between this versus the other one is if you install using an installer like this one, it will be installed on a particular computer, which means you can only use LibreOffice on that computer. Now being open source, you can also install it on multiple computers, but you have to go through the installation process multiple times on the different computers that you want to install LibreOffice. If you use this approach as a portable app, you install it onto a thumb drive or external hard drive, you can run the application from your USB thumb drive as long as you're on a Windows machine. So what you do is you can go to the library with your thumb drive, you plug it in, you look at the content in the thumb drive, you locate the icon for LibreOffice, you double click it, it will run it from the thumb drive itself. It does not need to be installed on the computer in the library. Okay, so this gives you the flexibility. You do pay a price. Okay, the price that you're paying is performance, because when it's running from a USB thumb drive, it's going to run a little bit slower than running from an internal hard drive. When it's natively installed. But I think it's not a big high price to pay. Because you pay the price a little bit when you start up the application, but once it's up and running, it's not really that much slower compared to a native installation. Okay, so go through either one of these, and install it. Okay. Step 2. Are there any questions about installing LibreOffice? The two options. Yep. Go ahead.
One question. Are you having us use this because it's free, or can we use a similar?
It's because I want to. Well, one, it is free, and 2, I only have LibreOffice on my own computer at home.
I'll talk to you.
Well, okay, there's a very specific reason why I want everyone to use LibreOffice in this class. Has nothing to do with, I want to promote open source, because just because I want to save money doesn't mean that everybody wants to save money. So I don't want to impose that on people. But there is a particular technical reason why I want people to use LibreOffice. Okay, so the second thing you want to do is to customize your LibreOffice installation. To customize means this. You go to LibreOffice, start up any application in LibreOffice. It doesn't have to be Calc, it can be anyone. You go to Tools. Okay, so I'll just write down here. Go to Tools. I think it's under Options. Okay, Tools. Oops, wrong app. Under Options, under LibreOffice User Data. LibreOffice User Data. And you can probably guess where I'm going. You just go to this one here. All I want you to do is to put in your first name and your last name. Okay. So go back to here.